Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Darnell Brown, Chairman of the Board of Trustees for the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. Welcome to the 2020 Greater Cleveland Food Bank Annual Meeting. It's my honor to chair this meeting, and yes, it looks a bit different than in years past. This year truly has been unprecedented. With the start of the pandemic in March, the food bank jumped into action mode. With schools, businesses, and partner agencies shutting down and volunteers canceling, the food bank community stepped up to serve the growing number of Northeast Ohioans in need. New distribution methods were developed and additional food purchased. And programs were also expanded to support the programmatic partners and clients safely. The food bank provided 57 million pounds of food this year. That's 9 million more than the prior year. Never in our 40-year history have we seen such demand or the distribution growth of this magnitude. More than 404,000 individuals have been served, and with fewer partner agencies open, many of whom had to close or cut hours during this pandemic. 1/3 of the clients served in cooperation with our partners in 6 counties were turning to us for the first time. While the need remains and we have a long year ahead of us, let's take a few moments to reflect on the past 6 months and recognize all that we've accomplished together. We are grateful to everyone that has supported the food bank during these challenging times. To our agency and program partners, volunteers, food and financial donors, elected officials, members of the media, and the Ohio National Guard especially, we are very thankful, and we can't thank you enough. I would also like to thank our Greater Cleveland Food Bank staff for their tireless service as essential workers. The Food Bank Food Distribution Center has been open and operating every business day since the pandemic began. Let's take a moment to watch the following video sharing what we have all been up to.
Greater Cleveland Food Bank ensures that everyone in our community has access to the nutritious food that they need.
My family is extremely thankful for the food bank.
It's a blessing, and it's really have been beneficial and helpful to my family.
I've never done anything like this in my life, and never thought I would have to.
I'm telling you, if they didn't have some of these programs, I wouldn't make it, couldn't make it.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Krista Morzoka, President and CEO of the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to Darnell and our entire board of directors for the extraordinary effort they've put in this year to provide guidance, support our work, and engage the community in our COVID-19 response efforts. These last 6 months have presented many new challenges. As much as we plan and prepare every year, we simply couldn't have anticipated what would happen when this pandemic hit or how the economy would respond to it. The demand for food increased dramatically when schools and businesses closed, and food donations dropped due to less surplus food in the supply chain. More than 200 of our partner agencies had to close their doors essentially overnight for safety reasons. And school and volunteer groups canceled their shifts as our community and nation began to adjust to living and working and learning at home. In my 20 years of food banking, I've never seen anything like this, and there has never been demand like this in our 40-year history. This response has been truly a team effort, responding to the needs of our clients as well as the partner agencies that we serve. The numbers are impressive, but so are the people and the efforts behind those numbers. Our countless supporters, including donors, legislators, partner programs, our volunteers, and of course, our staff team. While we have an entire year of service to share with you in the next 45 minutes, I want to start with our response to this pandemic, which so many of you have been involved in or supported. I have to share these numbers with you. First and foremost, over the last 6 months, from March through September, more than 320,000 unique individuals in Northeast Ohio were served by the food bank and our partner agencies. That's more than 120,000 families or households, and 1/3 of them, 41,000 families, turned to the food bank or our partners for the first time in need of emergency food. This is twice as many new clients as we served last year during this time. We provided 36 million pounds of food. That's more than 6 million pounds of food a month, including just over 382,000 emergency food boxes. We distributed 225,000 grab-and-go meals to kids who didn't have access to free and reduced price lunches because they were learning virtually and not at school. And we provided more than 144,000 bags of food through our Backpacks for Kids program, more than twice our normal weekly volume. We also received more than 25,000 calls in our help center, triple what we saw last year. More than 4,700 services were provided via new home delivery program for clients that truly couldn't get out to access food, as well as to clients who walked up to our front door here at our community food distribution center in need of food. This work was done in partnership and collaboration with more than 800 partner hunger relief organizations and nonprofits across Northeast Ohio who stayed open through it all during the pandemic. Some of these partners were brand new. Our partner agencies also had to pivot to make sure that the clients we all serve were able to access the food they needed in a safe environment under really challenging circumstances, and I am so grateful to all of our partner agencies for your incredible work this year. I also want to thank the donors who stepped up during this pandemic to support our response efforts. There are too many to acknowledge today, but there are a few whose generosity was truly extraordinary. I want to thank Giant Eagle, the Jack, Joseph, and Morton Mandel Foundation, Feeding America, the National Association of Food Banks, the Zuby Zaretta family, the COVID-19 Rapid Response Fund, and Cuyahoga County for support with CARES funding. We truly could not have launched this level of response without your generosity. I also want to thank our staff. They have stepped up in so many ways, both on-site and working from home, to make sure that food was available to the partners and clients who needed it. I am enormously proud of their dedication, their flexibility, and just plain old hard work this year. They've put in so many hours thinking creatively about problem solving, coming up with a myriad of alternatives for issues that arose. And as one employee has often said, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. For their time and passion, I am so grateful. Thank you all. I also want to take a moment to recognize two very special staff members who we lost too soon. Mary O'Shea, who retired just a short time ago, had served as our Director of Advocacy. She built that program. She was a fierce advocate, a friend, and a leader to all of her coworkers and colleagues across our network. Cornell Nash was a dedicated food bank employee for 15 years who passed away just recently. He cared deeply about the people we serve, about his colleagues, and he spent years increasing the amount of fresh produce we distribute to the community. Both will be greatly missed by all who knew them. Mary and Cornell, rest in peace, knowing that we will carry on this important work in your honor. Even with the challenges we have all faced, we've had some amazing success and progress against our strategic plan. We established 4 goals back in 2018. As we continue to work to ensure that everyone in our community has access to the nutritious food they need today, and to shorten the line at local hunger centers tomorrow by providing our clients with access to additional vital resources to address the root causes of hunger. Here are a few highlights. We targeted vulnerable populations to make sure that they had access to the food they need through a number of special programs. Through these special programs, through summer feeding, to kids cafes, to senior markets, to our food as medicine work, we've been able to reach 93,000 senior citizens this year, 56,000 children, and 5,300 patients with health challenges who received access to food through a partner healthcare provider to help them recover from disease. We increased perishable food to 37 million pounds this year, a huge increase over the previous year. And that is some of the most nutritious, healthy food we can distribute. We also helped 39,832 people apply for public benefits. Whether that was SNAP or Medicaid or other forms of assistance, this provided vital family stability. We continue to connect our clients to other nonprofit partners to address the main drivers of food insecurity: housing, healthcare, and employment, because that is how we all end hunger in the long term. I'm also very proud of the work we've done around diversity, equity, and inclusion. In our last strategic plan, the food bank set a goal to make diversity, equity, and inclusion strengths of our organization. Last year, in 2019, we established a DEI council comprised of staff people throughout the organization who volunteered to be part of this very important team. We wrote a detailed DEI plan and began implementation. This year, we completed a DEI audit of all of our HR policies, a compensation review, and also provided additional training. We celebrated Juneteenth at the suggestion of a staff member. In recognition of this, we recently won 2 awards highlighting our efforts around DEI. The first was the North Coast 99 4th year in a row award for being a great workplace with special recognition for our DEI efforts. And the second was a best-in-class workforce diversity award from the Equity and Inclusion Division of the Greater Cleveland Partnership. It's important that we see food insecurity with a racial equity lens. We know that food insecurity and poverty exist at rates that are twice as high for Black Americans. We also know that a diverse team with diverse ideas will help us better serve our diverse client base. Over the past 15 years, we have tripled our distribution of food, nearly quadrupled, from 16 million pounds of food provided in 2006, the year we moved into this facility, to 57 million pounds of food this year. Our warehouse is stacked to the ceiling and our aisles are full. 2/3 of the product we now distribute is perishable product. Our cold storage and cold dock areas are routinely full with donated product. During the same time period, our on-site kitchen has quintupled its distribution. On a busy day, we have sometimes prepared up to 8,000 meals, and we are simply out of space. The food bank has also become a critical hub for households seeking assistance with a myriad of basic needs through our help center, monthly and now weekly food distributions, our benefit outreach services with staff out serving the community. And so, as part of our 2018 strategic plan, we determined that we needed to address our capacity to meet future community needs. We have to continue to expand our distribution of healthy food while also creating space to help our clients address the root causes of food insecurity. We created a capital advisory committee made up of board members and community leaders who, for 18 months, along with staff, dreamed, planned, measured, and plotted what might be necessary to really address and solve hunger in our community over the next 10 to 20 years. As a result of that work, we formed 2 committees who have hit the ground running. Our Capital Campaign Committee, chaired by Howard Lewis and Manisha Sethi, have begun fundraising efforts for an expansion project. And a construction committee, headed by Joe DeRocco, has engaged the best and brightest architects to help us create new space and repurpose our current site. Plans are in motion to expand our capacity to include more space for both perishable and non-perishable food and a much larger production kitchen. Our current facility will be renovated to add an on-site pantry and provide additional resources for the clients that we serve. And will help our partner agencies build capacity too, through equipment and other support, because their capacity is also vital. This pandemic has only made our need for more space all the more urgent. There is so much more work to be done and more to come, so we look forward to keeping you all updated on our progress. Thanks for an amazing year. I'd now like to introduce Matt Jackson, our Volunteer Experience Manager, who will take a moment to reflect on the past year and the services our volunteers have provided, and also announce the winner of our Volunteer of the Year Award. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's hard to believe that just 1 year ago we hosted this event at the food bank and didn't think twice about things like social distancing or keeping a backup face mask in our car just in case we got to bring one. Oh, how things have changed since then. As we move through the holiday season and into the first quarter of the current calendar year, our volunteer program progressed very similarly to years past. It was sure, steady, and solid. Then, to quote the musical Hamilton, The world turned upside down. The COVID-19 pandemic hit. COVID has impacted everyone in one way or another. Here at the food bank, we began to feel the effects in mid-March as Northeast Ohio began to shut down to slow the spread of the pandemic. Many more households turned to the food bank, and understandably, many individual volunteers and groups were no longer able to volunteer. Thanks to Governor DeWine, who responded quickly to a request from the Ohio Association of Food Banks, the Ohio National Guard and Ohio Military Reserve were deployed to assist food banks throughout the state. They stepped into the shoes of our volunteers and did a tremendous job. Knowing that the Guard would be here on a permanent basis, we put safety measures in place to ensure that the safe return of our volunteers could take place. We require masks of everyone who enters the building. Temperatures are taken each time someone walks in the door. Social distancing on all projects is enforced, and gloves and hand sanitizer abounds. In addition, volunteers at our contact-free distributions at the Muni lot are subject to the same rigorous requirements, and we want to be sure that everyone is safe and adheres to the best practices. As we moved into May and June, we began to incorporate volunteers back into our on-site kitchen and repack projects as well. We received tremendous support from our longtime volunteer base, as well as from new volunteers who have become engaged with our mission. It is truly inspirational to witness how in tune with our mission each of our volunteers is. And we continue to need volunteers for repack and kitchen, so we encourage volunteers to sign up to help our community. Exciting news to share. We have a team of 7 AmeriCorps volunteers who have been with us full-time since September 24th, and they have been a steady source of support and helping hands. We would also like to take a moment to recognize each of the 35 volunteers that donated 100 hours of their time over the course of the past year to assist on repack, kitchen, retail, distribution, and skill-based volunteer projects. Many of you were instrumental in our ability to bring volunteers back on board regularly in June and July, and we are so thankful to each of you for all of the time that you've contributed to our project areas. The fact that each of you is able to accumulate so many hours in such a short period of time is truly remarkable. Congratulations to Shirlene Morahisa for being named our Volunteer of the Year. She has contributed more than 500 hours and has attended all of the Muni Lot distributions while also volunteering at the food bank daily. Please enjoy a few words from Shirlene.
Over the past year, I have worked mostly in repack. I do the morning shift, I do the afternoon shift, and because of COVID, when we went back, I did the evening shift. And I also worked in the kitchen doing the little lunch bags in the morning. I've done Muni, I've done Lakeland, and I do Parma for the distributions. And I just enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm learning a lot. Volunteering goes back to my parents, and they taught me to give back. So it's important to me to give back to the community. I've been very blessed, and I have more than I need, so I believe that we should give back. And anybody who's on the verge of retiring should have some kind of passion that they can get into. They should be able to pay back. It is important that we pay back to our neighbors, and this is one of the ways I felt I could do, and still get my exercise and still get along with the people and see different people. Like even here at Muni, you see all walks of life, and no judgment. You just serve them and you move on.
We are continuing to recruit volunteers for the rest of the year and into 2021 as well. As always, check our website for the most up-to-date list of the shifts for which we are still seeking support. And feel free to share our information with any individuals or groups that you think might be interested in lending a hand. Thank you. Now I'll toss it back to Darnell.
We are all grateful to our 2020 Harvest for Hunger co-chairs, Rick Characosta, President and CEO of Medical Mutual, and Sean Richardson, Regional President from Huntington Bank, for their leadership of this important critical effort. Harvest for Hunger is our largest fundraising initiative each year. The campaign, which takes place in the spring, was extended this year to give our corporate partners more time to participate. Welcome, Rick and Sean.
Thank you so much, Darnell. I was really honored to serve as the co-chair of the 2019 and 2020 Harvest for Hunger campaigns and to see firsthand the incredible work being done here in Ohio to feed those in need. Harvest for Hunger is a critical campaign for our community and wouldn't be possible without the generous support of so many people and so many organizations. As you know, this year's campaign was not typical. Shortly after we had the kickoff at the end of February, our state began to shut down, and many companies and schools, many of whom typically participate, had to adjust how they operate. Even with all the challenges and adjustments people had to make, the food bank remained top of mind for many people who understand what an incredible need there is. These companies and people continue to support Harvest for Hunger and the food bank during these difficult times. Hunger is a real issue. It was before the pandemic, and it continues to be. Your efforts, both big and small, mean more to people who struggle with hunger in our community than you will ever know. Many of you have put in a tremendous amount of effort in the fight against hunger in our community. This was such a unique year, and one I am sure many of us will not forget anytime soon. I truly want to thank our Northeast Ohio community for stepping up and for their incredible generosity during these unprecedented times. I'd like to take a moment to thank the donors who have made a significant contribution to support the food bank and to ensure they were able to meet the growing need. Additionally, I would like to recognize the members of our 2020 Kitchen Cabinet, a group of community leaders who provide leadership and support to the campaign by hosting some of our most successful drives and giving personally. Sean and I are both very grateful for your leadership in support of this important campaign. I'd now like to introduce my co-chair, Sean Richardson from Huntington Bank.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for your friendship and partnership throughout the program this year. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today for this special celebration. With all the challenge we have faced this year, there's still so much to celebrate. Thousands of people got the food they need to be able to make ends meet. We should all be proud of our contribution to be able to provide thousands of pounds of food to those in need right here in our community. Every spring, our supermarket partners and their staff commit their time and creativity to supporting Harvest for Hunger. The Checkout Hunger campaign encouraged customers to donate $1, $5, $10, or whatever they could at the register. This year, the pandemic impacted everyone, including the supermarkets, with the state shutting down most businesses in the midst of the campaign. These supermarkets were so busy during this time trying to keep their shelves stocked and adjusting their stores to follow safety protocols. Nevertheless, during all of this, it did not deter the cashiers from asking daily for donations throughout the campaign. These workers were on the front lines of the pandemic, but they understood the need and truly had an impact. Checkout for Hunger sponsors Giant Eagle, Heinen's, and Dave's Markets, along with other retailers, including Buehler's and Fisher's, raised nearly $3.2 million. This is simply phenomenal. Congratulations and thank you to our supermarket partners. Giant Eagle alone has raised more than 150% year over year, collecting over $2 million. They will continue to collect through the end of the year at their stores and their get-go locations. We just can't thank Giant Eagle enough for their commitment to hunger relief. We also had to rethink how to do our annual market at the food bank, which is typically held at the food bank warehouse every spring. While we love to gather and celebrate our amazing culinary community, we knew that just wasn't possible during the pandemic. We wanted to find a way to still celebrate, thanking our long-time restaurant participants, and to have some fun. The idea culminated from a virtual event called Market at Home, a week-long event where we were live at different locations each night, offering cooking and drinking demonstrations. Overall, it was a great success, with thousands of viewers tuning in throughout the week to watch these chefs in action and learn about the food bank's effort during the pandemic. As we head into the holiday season and wrap up 2020, we're looking forward to the next year's Harvest for Hunger campaign, the 30th year of the annual fundraising campaign. It may look different as we continue to adjust to so many things being virtual now, but the goal will be the same: to get food to our hungry neighbors and work to ensure that everyone has the nutritious food they need every day. Before we go, I do have one more thing I'd like to do. We have one more special person to thank. The role of Harvest for Hunger co-chair is a 2-year commitment. And Rick Chiracosta is finishing his 2nd year of leadership. He has been committed to this campaign, recruiting new kitchen cabinet members, raising awareness about the issue of hunger, and expressing his passion for those in need. It has been a pleasure working with Rick on the campaign. We are very, very grateful for your service. I'd like to present you with a small token of our appreciation for your time and efforts over the last year, Rick. Put this up. Put yours on.
There we go.
I invite you to say a few words.
Thank you, Sean. Well, we get asked to participate in so many activities in our community, and I will tell you it's been an honor. I want to thank the food bank. I want to thank the board of the food bank, and special thank you to my 2 co-chairs, Paul Clark in 2019 and my good friend Sean Richardson for 2020. When I'm done working someday and I look back on my career, being a co-chair of this campaign will certainly go down as one of my career highlights and one of the things I'm most proud of. So thank you all very much for trusting me with this campaign. The food bank's a great organization and the need is great. Keep supporting it for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you both, Rick and Sean. We are grateful to your leadership, especially this past year during the pandemic. Now I'd like to acknowledge a very special group whose help has been integral to the food bank's success this year: the Ohio National Guard and the Ohio Military Reserves. As Matt noted earlier, thanks to Governor DeWine, who responded promptly to the Ohio Association of Food Banks, the Guard was deployed to assist food banks throughout the state. Since March 23rd, their support has been invaluable as they provided assistance in many of our traditional volunteer roles and enabled us to expand our food distribution efforts. They have been key to planning and implementing our muni lot distribution each week, packing thousands of backpacks and grab-and-go meals for our children, and delivering meals to homebound seniors and those with disabilities, serving hundreds of thousands of people over the last several months. I can honestly say we would not have been able to do all of this without their help. I want to take a few minutes to thank the Greater Cleveland Food Bank's Board of Directors. These board members are an incredibly committed group. They support the food bank in numerous ways, providing strategic leadership and guidance, attending numerous meetings, and providing financial support. I also want to take a moment to thank outgoing board member Terry Jenkins, who is retiring from KeyBank. Thank you for your service to the food bank. Enjoy your well-deserved time off. Thank you again to everyone for attending this evening. We all look forward to another successful year. Thank you.